Do you have any tips or advice on how to approach a significant other who is less than excited to talk about their finances?
A lot of your listeners, there are couples who listen together, but there's a lot of people who listen and really want to teach their spouse, their partner this stuff, and they're excited, and they have that experience of their partner is kind of like, what, or I don't want to hear this, or I don't get it, right? And that's tough. That can really, it can kill your vibe. You're like all excited, you're getting all these ideas, you're like, we're gonna crush it, and then oof, you get deflated. Usually what you're going to want to do is frame the request, like to have a conversation, frame it in terms of the big, bold, beautiful vision you have for your life with this person, right? So what I mean is, you know what? I am totally crazy about you, and I love everything that's on our bucket list, and I want us to be able to do as much of that as possible, or I want us to be able to give our kids everything we want to, everything we did have, or everything we didn't have growing up, right? Framing it in terms of that. And I'll tell you why this is a really important thing. We're human beings. We tend to have default ways of being, and we default to them, right? Like the paths in our brain, they're well established. That's the path we take, the least energy. And a lot of times, the kinds of people who are listening to a podcast like this, if you are the kind of person who is more cautious and you want to be really thoughtful and careful with your finances, and you're also in part doing that because you're worried about what could go wrong, right? It's very easy for you to come from that point of view when you talk to your partner. Hey, I want to make sure we don't mess up, or I'm afraid we're going to have credit card debt or bankruptcy. But here's the thing. We usually find someone who energetically, personality-wise, is complementary to us. And so if we're the person who's like, we got to make sure we avoid the chaos or the really bad thing, usually we're partnered with somebody who's like, it's all good. We're going to figure it out. Everything's going to be fine. We got to enjoy life today too, right? And so that can be a beautiful balance. But how do you appeal to them? You step outside of your worries, concerns, fears, anxieties, and think about, okay, well, if we actually got together, felt safe talking about money, had clarity on where our money's going and what we've got and where we're trying to get to, and we're working as a team, what would that allow? What kind of difference would that make? What would that make possible in our lives, our relationship? And then you go sell that to them. I want you to be able to be free. I want to have such a kick butt financial situation that if your boss keeps doing what they've been doing, you're free to say, you know what, I'm out, right? And we've got enough money there where you can do that for 6-8 months. Now you're speaking their language. Find a way to speak their language, frame it in positive terms, and just invite them. You don't know all the answers, they don't know all the answers. So much of it has to be discovered. They're just like, I want to live our best lives together. I think money is an important piece of that. Can we sit down, have a conversation? When's a good time?
So now the question becomes, what should we be talking about?
Terrific question. This is one of the biggest mistakes I see couples make here. They finally decide they're going to talk about money, and they go straight to the numbers. They go straight to a budget or the budget. They go straight to YouTube TV premium, whatever, versus Hulu live TV. And they're trying to make these decisions, or, should we grocery shop organic or not? Should we get the meal order? The problem there is twofold. Number one, you don't have any context. You're just kind of making one-off decisions versus the context of where are we at financially? What are our financial goals? And then you can start to understand, oh, well, here are some of the things involved with this particular question or trade-off, right, between option A and option B. Is it worth the savings? Because if we save, we can achieve this goal faster. Or it's not going to make a huge difference in our timeline, but it really improves our quality of life today. So let's go with that option, right? You need to have that context. Don't jump straight to those decisions. The second reason that you don't want to go straight to the numbers is because if you're like most couples, there's not a real sense of trust, safety, comfort talking about this topic together. And so what I actually recommend, and what I have all my clients do as well, the first step would be, don't go straight to the numbers. Try and build first a sense of comfort talking about this topic. And like I said, the easiest way there is to just share with each other. What was money like growing up? Past relationships, in terms of your identity, your culture, where you grew up, how you grew up. And conversations like that with no particular agenda, just to share and to listen and understand each other better. Then, once you've finished with that, then you can really start digging into the numbers. I don't want to say finished with that. There's never an end to it, as I'm sure you can appreciate. But once you're starting to build that sense of comfort talking about money, okay, now let's start looking at the numbers and build that foundation and understand the context in which we are operating, so that we can start making some of these decisions about YouTube versus Hulu. But we know why we're making them, and we have context, right? And it makes sense. It's not just guesswork, right? It's actually grounded in what matters to us and what we're trying to achieve.